Hello, mister. Today I'm gonna talk about my part of Russia. In this time, I'm going to talk about AK-47. AK-47, also called Kalashnikov Model 1947 Soviet assault rifle, possibly the most widely used shoulder weapon in the world. The initials AK represent Automat Kalashnikova, Russian for automatic Kalashnikov, for its designer, Mikhail Timoyevich Kalashnikov, who designed the, accepted version of the weapon in 1947. During World War II, Michael Kalashnikov was a tank commander, but an injury forced him to hospitalize in 1942. In his room, he heard other wounded soldiers share the same experience. Their rifles weren't reliable enough. This motivated Kalashnikov to design a weapon that comforted the body when shooting, that was lighter and easier to use. Almost from the moment of its official adoption by the Soviet military in 1949, the AK-47 was recognized as being simple to operate, rugged, reliable under training conditions, and amenable to mass production. Built around 7.62 millimeter round with a muzzle velocity of some 700 meters per second. It had a cyclic firing rate of 1,600 rounds per minute and was capable of both semi-automatic and automatic fire. The AK-47 was manufactured in two basic designs, one with a wooden stock and the other decided the AKS with a folding metal stock. Kalashnikov, this guy, remained the basic shoulder weapons of many armies that once had political and military ties to the Soviet Union, and they have long been the favored weapon for many guerrillas and nationalist movements throughout the world. The symbolic value of the AK to such movements is demonstrated by its presence on the coat of arms of numerous countries as well on the flag of Mozambique. About some facts that I found interesting is its success led it to Guinness Book by becoming the most widely used weapon in the world. It is estimated that there are more than 100 million rifles in use. Currently, not only Russia manufactures this weapon, more than 30 countries have bought the production rights. Among the traditional partners of Russia, such as China or India, but also other countries such as Israel. An estimated 250,000 people die each year from the fire of an AK-47 Kalashnikov. It has caused more deaths than artillery and air strikes. Mikhail Kalashnikov was never sorry for all the deaths that his invention has caused. I sleep well, he said. Politicians are to blame for not having reached an agreement and resorting to violence, he said in 2007. During the Vietnam War, many American soldiers exchanged their M16 rifles for the AK-47s of the killed Vietnamese, as they were more reliable rifles for them. And the French newspaper Liberation defined it as the most invention of the 20th century about spaceflight and the atomic bomb. Also, Egypt honored Kalashnikov by building a giant rifle monument on the Sinai Peninsula. See, is this one. About technological contributions. Okay, Russian inventors have contributed generously to the development of global scientific thought. First, the caterpillar tracks and track assembly. In 1837, Russian Army Captain Dmitry Zagryshsky came out with drawings of a caterpillar drive and applied to the Minister of Finance for a patent for his invention of a carriage with a flat-chain mechanical caterpillar. He was granted a patent, but his invention did not interest manufacturers at that time, and the patent was annulled in 1839. Much later, in 1877, Russian peasant and self-taught inventor Fyodor Blинov completed Sargasky unfinished task and created a weapon that moved on caterpillars. This invention gave the green light to production of tractors and, of course, of trucks. Next, electrically powered railway wagons. The invention of electrically powered railway wagon was a precondition of the transport revolution that spurred the development of towns and industrial centers. It all started in 1974 and 1976 when Fyodor Pirotsky, another Fyodor, conducted a slew of experiments on transmitting electricity over a distance with one rail serving as a direct conductor and the other as a reverse conductor. An electric motor located on 1 kilometer for the power source worked. A few years later, he conducted an experiment at a railway spur near Sestrorsk, its name. Well, there were 4 people in the wagon. Also, the first electrified tram line was opened as late as 1881 in a Berlin suburb on the basis of the design by the Russian inventor. And next, the videotape recorder. Alexander Poniatov, a student of the founding father of Russian aviation, Nikolai Shuskovsky, started the Ampex company in the United States and worked there in the 1960s. The company succeeded in producing the first quality video signal recorder. Ampex kept its lead in the market for professional magnetic recording of video for all of Century and Global Electronics giants had to punting off patents to produce home video equipment. That's a big one. Next, the radio. Alexander Popov, a professor of physics, announced the invention of a system of wireless communication at a lecture at St. Petersburg University in April 1875 and displayed the world's first radio set. He was unable to publish his work though because he worked for a military institution. Then the Italian Guglielmo Marconi conducted a similar experiment about the same time. His article was published in 1897. Unlike Pope's, Marconi's invention was commercialized fast, so they still argue in the West over who invented radio first. So then the helicopter. Igor Sikorsky was another Russian inventor whose potential was fully realized abroad. In 1910, he created the prototype of a rotor-driven device, which successfully got off the ground. In 1912, he created the first hydroplane in the world and then the first multi-engine aircraft. After 1917, in Russia, he had to emigrate to the USA, where he established his own company, named Skilcraft Aero Engineering Company, using a contribution from remarkable Russian composer Sergei Rachmaninoff. Sikorsky's first experimental helicopter design in the USA got off the ground in September 1939. The design of that machine, which has been considered a classic helicopter design for more than 50 years now, has been used for almost 90% helicopters built around the world. In 1942, Sikorsky created a two-seater helicopter. And the television, another Russian named Vladimir Sikorsky, engineer whose invention debuted in the United States. He came up with a main invention of the 20th century, electronic television. He applied for a television patent in the USA in 1923. 6 years later, he developed the kinescope, a high vacuum television receiver tube, and 2 years later, he created the first transmitting device, which he called an iconoscope. And another inventions are transformers, solar cell, and petrocracking. But I am in this part. Thank you so much, Mister. See you.